Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of The Other Side of Addiction. I am your host, Al Richards. As I say at the beginning of every single show, we got another really good show for you guys today. Today, we're going to be talking with someone who is a daughter of an addict, a wife of it as an addict, and her herself was an addict. So I'd like to introduce you to my new friend, Sunshine. Sunshine, thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Al. It's good to be here.
And before we get going, I just want to say thank you to Andrea for connecting us. That's the reason why, we had a chat a week ago, and now we're sitting here doing a show together. So,
That's
Andrea,
great.
I love you, girl. You know how much I love you, and I appreciate you. So, thank you for connecting us.
I do love Andrea. She is a beautiful soul. Love her.
That she is a very beautiful soul, and
Mhm.
I've been so blessed and grateful to get to know her. Yeah,
Me
we
too.
give each other crap at the gym every once in a while.
She's one of my very best friends. Yeah,
That is
yeah,
awesome. Well,
yeah.
Sunshine, gosh, go and talking a little bit before the show and looking at your bio, and you and I had a conversation about a week ago before we got you scheduled.
Hmm.
Man, girl, you've been like all over the place, right? When it comes to
I
like
have.
addiction and just life. However, this story's a little different, right? Because a lot of people who have battled addictions, their life went from good to really, really terrible, right? Yours
Hmm.
wasn't quite that way. Is that correct?
No, I don't think so. It didn't. It wasn't like, oh, there wasn't like this time where it was really bad and then crashed. And then a lot of times that'll happen where it's kind of a roller coaster, good, bad, good, bad, good, bad. Um, or I think, quite honestly, I would say there have been difficult times, but I feel like, as there are in everybody's, but I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say like there was this, you know, moment of where all hell breaks loose, or where I was addicted to one, you know, definitely not one substance. But addiction is a theme all through my life and through the major people in my life.
Okay.
Um, including myself. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that and the definition of addiction and what it means to me.
Oh, yeah,
Because
I
I do
love
think,
that.
yeah, yeah, right. Because it addiction, and I will say when I go to AA and people kind of look at me like, what? And I'll say, hello, my name is Sunshine, and I'm addicted to everything I do more than once. If it keeps me from, you know, if I'm in that space, if it keeps me from pain, if it keeps me from having to experience pain. Whether that means a substance, whether that means, exercise, whether that means if I'm in that space of I don't want to have to feel any pain. So that dopamine rush, or so addiction for me, and there was a time it did mean substance, it means alcohol, and I stay away from that. But then there's this greater place of where I'll find myself even working to
Yeah.
the place where I can avoid life, where that's, keeping me from taking care of my family, avoiding my spouse, where that act of addiction is keeping me from living in a way that is productive. So, yes, addiction includes substance, but it's also included everything that is supposed to be good for me. Exercise. Well, then pretty soon I'm working out to the point where that's all I'm doing is exercise. So things that should be healthy become not healthy,
Yeah.
right?
And I don't think a lot of people understand that, right? I
Mm-hmm.
think, and I wouldn't say it's the majority of society. However, there's a big lump sum where when they hear the word addiction, that's the first thing that pops in their head, right? Is either sex,
Right.
porn, drugs, or alcohol,
Mm-hmm.
right? However,
Yeah.
I used to be a workaholic too. I mean, I'd put
Mm-hmm.
in 13, 14-hour days every single day until Friday came, and then it was 8 hours. Then I was on the phone with my dealer, picking up my shit, going home, snorting cocaine and drinking alcohol for 2 days,
Mm-hmm.
just so I could go back and get myself back together in my other addiction, being work. And I go to the gym 5 days a week as long as work permits. Sometimes I have to get up real early to pour concrete. And I never really thought of it as an addiction, to be honest with you, Sunshine. I mean, I've been doing it for years. I got out of it for a while. However, it means everything to me. I mean, seriously, I have to get up in the morning. And if I miss a day, I feel guilty. And it does help me clear my head a lot with things that's going on in life. I don't know if it really helps numb it or push it away. It just kind of helps clear it for me.
So I have a core belief about my own life and addiction, and this goes to a deep, deep level. I had to ask myself, okay, and I mean, my higher power, I'm going to say God, God in my life surrounded me, and there was a time playing the victim of why do I have these addictions that are paining me? And my mom is an addict and my spouse is an addict. And why in the world, poor me, am I it's surrounding me, and I hit this place in my life where am I just going to be plagued by this? Like, what is going on? Right? Like, so addiction, and I believe this at the core, there's something beneath the addiction. So we're going to go deep, like why. I had to really take a look at myself, and I'll get emotional here because I'm 47 years old. And here I am weaving in and out of addiction, really always being addicted to something from the age of 13 years old, where I can go back. My mom, she tried to commit suicide. She slit her wrist and I found her. And at that point, that's where I found that I started drinking at that age, and I would drink to blackout. So I knew right then I had a problem with alcohol. My friends are drinking and goofing around, and I'm drinking all the way to blackout. So I was put in, I went to a rehab. I was blessed to be able to get into a rehab at that age. And that was the last time I drank. I've been sober from alcohol for 21 years. So I drank, I got out of the rehab. I learned great skills and great tools. And that's where I learned, okay, I have a problem with substances. Okay. So that's where that began. But I want to talk about something deeper than that. Throughout my life, I went through a real bout with, and a lot of times it would get triggered by change. I went through a real bout with eating disorders, another addiction. Always it started with not eating at all. Then it went to eating and throwing up. I went through a real bout with men and dating, just relationship after relationship after relationship after relationship. Exercise myself to oblivion, constantly. Went to a bout of work. So helping other people, that was part of the working. Codependency. So we'll jump ahead in and out of these, just constant addiction, and never really stopping to pay attention to what was really, why am I doing this? And on top of that, being married to an addict, having a parent who's an addict, all around me. So we're going to fast forward a little bit, because this is what I want to get at. To a point where, and watching the people around me with addictions and seeing the pain in their lives and how addiction was really helping them escape actual pain. And I could see it more in them, why they were doing it. Shame and other things that had gone on in their life that started their addiction. So I'm a widow, and my husband passed 18 months ago. And when that happened for me, it was a gift, because I saw him. He had this body plagued with addiction. And it actually freed him. And that's another story, but it freed him. And I know that he lives on in a body not plagued by addiction. But when he passed, it was like a gift for me, because for the first time in my life, I was living for me, not in a codependent relationship. Because I'd always been in a codependent relationship with my mom, and then in a marriage. And it made me stop. And I couldn't be codependent because I didn't have a relationship, and I was all alone. I was empty nesting at the same time. So I was living all by myself, and then I no longer had a partner. And I would get up, and I was determined not to drink. So I made it through it sober. But I'd get up and I didn't know who I was, because I'd always lived for someone else. And so I had to face pain. because I couldn't escape in a partner. And I'd get up and I'd just sit in bed because I didn't know what to do with myself. For those last couple of years of my spouse's life, it was living for him and helping him stay sober before he passed. And so it was no longer helping him. And what happened is I found that all this time, ever since I was 13, in those addictions, I had just been trying to escape the fear of rejection. That was that's what kept me in my addiction. I think as a coach, I found and I believe that everybody has a root of what they're running from. This is like, we're going to do like this, we'll call this gospel by sunshine as I've started coaching more. And it took me all the way to, his name's Jared's death, to me facing what at my core am I running from? What am I so afraid of? What is it that what am I drinking down and running from? And as I've started coaching, I'll use the word sovereign. It's like at that moment, he passed and I had to put down my cape. I call it a cape, right? A cape that's saving people all my life and drinking, doing all these things. It's like I put down my cape. And when I put down that cape, in that moment of him passing and all these things happened, it's like I put down my cape and I picked up my crown. And it's like I became not Queen Bee, but Queen Me. And this happened in a moment's time of like getting out of bed, and I walked to the mirror, and my name is Sunshine. So all my life I'd heard, "You are my sunshine." I've been sung that song.
Yeah.
And that pressure, and I believe this song is sung to everybody in their own way. You're hearing that song in your head. Everybody's singing "You Are My Sunshine." I just hear it in a different way because it's my name. And it's a lot of pressure that we hear, right? You are my sunshine, because we need to be everybody's sunshine, and it's pressure. And I think that's why, in my own mind, that's why we become addicted to these things, because we feel pressure and we feel shame. And so we're running to this, and it just becomes a habit of whatever it is. And this isn't an escape, it's a truth, I believe, for people. Sometimes it's because of abuse. Sometimes for me, it was because of rejection for whatever reason. But I walked over to the mirror and I looked in the mirror, and as I put on this crown, it wasn't like a Queen Bee, it was like Queen Me. In that moment, I became Queen Me. And I looked at myself and I sang, "I am my sunshine, my only sunshine." And for the first time in my life, 46 years at the time, I was like, oh, I am my own light. I get it. Like this is me. Like I have power inside me. And it was like all of this addiction. So now for a year, I don't have, and it's a different feeling because I don't have, what gets me out of the bed in the morning is me. So sometimes it's almost a little bit scary because it's a different type of drive. It's a different type of drive than it used to be my whole life. It's not a fear drive. It's like a joyous drive. It's not a push. It's like and it's not a pull. It just is me.
It's I don't know. This is just how I'm seeing it and how I'm feeling with what you're saying. Because something like what you have just shared has been happening to me here in the last few months. I mean, seriously, about the last 4 or 5 months. It's, to me, it's like I am finally on a journey for me. It's my journey. It's
my
no one
own.
else's journey. It's mine now, right?
Mhm.
There's no one else there to pull me back, to divert me to a different on a different course. For the first time in my life, this is mine.
Mm-hmm.
Is that kind of where you're going?
Yes, and it's free. Like I'm like, oh, and I would always think, when I would meet, even in relationships, I would be like, okay, And I see it because I think, well, yeah, a king and a queen, you'll, because I keep using this queen when I coach, I'm like, and I'd always say, well, no, I need to coach people to be their own coach. That's what is behind my coaching. But I had like this aha moment of, well, no, I want everybody to be a queen and a king of their own self. And that's super powerful because it's not like a king and a queen have a kingdom. It's everybody has their own kingdom.
Yeah.
That's a lot of kingdoms. That's powerful. If everybody has their own kingdom and is in charge of their own kingdom, that is powerful.
Well, heck yeah, that's powerful, right? Because how many times do we go out there as individuals to look for that queen or king who already has it, right? Who already has
Right.
it, and we're totally bypassing the individual, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're already bypassing everything that's inside of them. Now you bring a queen and a queen together who are got that same vision. Holy shit.
Yeah,
I don't
right.
see how anybody could stop them,
No. And I
right?
teach my kids, you get your own kingdom. I'm going to teach you to have your own.
Yeah.
Be a sovereign person of your own. And don't go share one. Have your own. Right.
Exactly.
And so that to me, it's like this aha of, oh, and that's okay. That's beautiful. And it's okay if you need to come over and borrow something from mine. Because there's plenty.
Yeah.
There is plenty for me to share. Like you and I, me and my people, whether it's a friend or my partner, whether it's two men or two women or whatever, we don't make one, we don't make two, we make infinity.
Absolutely.
And so all my life, this codependent thought for me, and I believe that everybody, when they figure this equation out, because I don't believe it's the same for everybody. But I want in coaching, it's like you see it, and then it's like, oh, well, no wonder I was a sneaky shit, right? Because I was like, I was getting my energy that I needed from that sneaky. There was a sneaky, the sneaky kind of moved my wheel. It's what gave me my energy, right? To keep me going. And I believe I am a sneaky shit. I got a lot going on in my brain. And another thing that I've learned is, like, when I look at you, when I look at somebody, I only teach what I know. I can only teach what I know. So when I see someone and I'll be like, my word, you are kind and you are beautiful and you are giving. I only see those things because I have those things, because I can't see what I'm not. And I believe it goes true for what I don't like in a person. If I see a person who's a sneaky shit and I'm like, and they're cocky, and I'm like, man, that person is conceited, and yeah, I see that because that's me. I have those traits too. They're a mirror of me. And so I am you and you are me. And the more I see that, the more beautiful I think that is.
Yeah.
Right.
I would have to agree with you. And I'd like to pause you for a second. Andrea did a post on social media just the other day about how she looked at Nick. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And Andrea, Nick, I apologize. I'm throwing you guys your
Let me just throw you out there, people.
in the show here just a little bit. However, I'm not going to go that deep in it. What I loved about that post, because I know who Nick is, right? I know the type of man he is. And I also know Andrea. Andrea was looking past the kingdom. She was seeing the king, the individual in him.
Mm-hmm.
That's what she's fallen in love with, is that individualism, that a single person. She sees that king already. And she doesn't care what's over here, she doesn't care what he doesn't have or where he's at in his life, because himself is making her feel more of a queen that she already is. And that post really got me thinking. And the show I just did with Nick got me thinking. I'm not going to say it now because Nick opened my eyes because of the situation that's happened in my life for the past umpteen years. Things have been kind of rough here and there, and I ended up purchasing a 32-foot trailer, and I live in a trailer. And I really looked down on myself for that, right? Because I just hit 60 this year. And I'm like, here I am, 60. I live in a freaking trailer. And so I was trying to reframe that. So I told Nick, I joke with people and go, yeah, I'm a professional camper. And he corrected me. And I'm so glad that he did. He goes, Al, your life is what it is right now. It is what it is. Doesn't mean you're going to stay there, right? Even jokingly, you're holding yourself back by doing that jokingly. You're in a situation, that's just what it is right now. And that really hit my heart real hard, because I'm like, you know what? Yeah, because I know I'm not going to be staying in this freaking camper, because I know I am not going to be a professional camper, because I'll be damned if this is what I want, where I want to live and where I want to be. I want to be somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, it's interesting because when you said she sees the king, right?
Yeah.
That goes back to what she can only see the king, right? If she can see her, if Andrea can see, oh, can you still see me?
Yeah, I got you. You froze up for a minute, but you're back.
For a minute, okay. If Andrea can see her queen.
Absolutely.
Right, and so she resonate that, right? You resonate that. She's resonating back what she sees. And a lot of times when I'm coaching, I'll tell people, you're gonna create what you'll get, don't worry about it, but use it as a teaching tool, right? If and we hear this all the time. But what I love too, and I love that he told you that, right? You're not gonna stay here. You're not gonna stay there. What we have is not, and this is interesting to me too, it's what you make your camper too, right?
Yeah.
If your camper is a kingdom, right? If it's your castle, then it's a castle.
Yeah.
Because it's who you are. If you're a king in a castle, in a camper, then that camper is a castle.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely, yes.
So it's who you are. And a lot of times sometimes I'll say things in there like, what in the world are you are talking nonsense. And I'm like, but my nonsense is my truth.
Yes.
Right. What I can change my narrative. So if the narrative is this, I don't know, if it's super sad and I'm a victim and oh no, then you just change the narrative. If I don't like what I see, then move. So I have something different to look at. Because I'm not going to move the mountain, right?
Yeah.
Right. If the barn burned down, oh good, now I can see the moon. It's like just change it. Change your perspective, change your point of view. And I guess that's probably why I have my name. I'm so grateful that my parents named me what they named me, right? Because it's not, it made, and I'll tell people this. I'm like, well, start calling yourself something else to remind yourself what you want to feel on the inside. What you want to, it's powerful. But when we call ourselves these names in our head, and I know this, I am a walking, talking proof of this, the power of a name. It's powerful. It's super powerful. And I don't see myself as like this light for other people to see. I see myself as a light to shine on other people. So they can see themselves.
So you got me tearing up now. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. I just did a coaching session with a couple, Carrick and Jen, and they are owners of Light Force World. And in the second session, doing all our talking and going over things and bringing the little boy back to me, right? The little boy's coming back out. they came up because I'm a firm believer the words that follow I am follow you. And I think that's kind of what you were saying here just a second ago. They said, Al, this is what I want you to repeat, and this is not being conceited. I am a loving, authentic man with integrity. And they got that from what I shared with them, with our, what word am I looking for? Just with the things that they had me go through. Okay. I can't think of the name right now. And I really, really like that. And I tell myself that throughout the day, all day long, especially when I start feeling like I'm getting beaten down in my own head, right? It's not that somebody's beating me down. I start beating myself down in my own head. I start pulling that up. And you said, when we feel a certain way about ourselves, how that beam of light affects others, it's like a sci-fi movie, right? It's like light's coming out of our eyes and it's penetrating the next person.
That really is.
You literally do see them glow.
Well, and I know when those things, like I'll look in the mirror and I'll be like, there's a voice, right? Talking, like I'll hear, like, not a voice. I'm not hearing voices, but it'll be like, what in the world were you thinking? Your hair looks like da da. I'm not the one saying those things because I'm the one hearing them. So there's a voice in my head, and there's a whole book on this. I'm the one listening to it. So the voice does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yes.
So we've got to be, we know we're not the one saying the things because we're the ones listening to it, right? And you're not both because you can't be taught. We've got to be cognitive of the voices, right? Or the things that are going on. It's like, no, wait a minute. Change those, slow down and listen to the voices that are going on, right? And change what the talk in your head. Make it more positive. Slow down and be like, no. Change it and make it be like, yeah, you know what? You freaking look like a rock star. Right? That fake it till you make it, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you are awesome. Like it really does change, even if you feel like it is just a bunch of bullshit. You just keep saying it. You keep saying it. You keep saying it. You keep saying it. Because our brain, for as smart as it is, it's pretty stupid. Like it doesn't know the difference between real and not.
Yeah, it's the subconscious. Yeah.
And so a lot of times, this is a whole nother NLP trick, and I won't even go into it, but a whole lot. But I think people don't realize when they have like a memory. If you think of like a memory of yourself, I'll just use this as an example. I used to have traumatic memories of when I was a kid, and I would have my positive memories in third person. So I would see them, I would be watching myself. All the happy memories, I'd be watching myself, like play with my sister and go to Disneyland. But my trauma memories, I'd have in first person. So I'd see my mom go and watch that same memory of her walking in on her when she tried to commit suicide. I'd have that in first person. So I would relive that over and over and over and over. Well, the brain doesn't know the difference. So I didn't have that traumatic experience once. I had it thousands and thousands of times, but I only went to Disneyland one time because I would have that memory in third person. So when I would slow down enough to really slow down how my brain, I flipped it. And I would have that memory of the trauma third person. And I'd go to Disneyland 1,000 times.
I love it.
See, or have a traumatic memory and watch it on a TV, on a movie screen. So eating popcorn, even though you're like, well, that's weird. I don't want to watch popcorn, but at least it changes it. So I know I'm not having that experience. It's not me. I'm something removed between us.
Yeah.
So I'm giving myself power over my mind and my memory. So we have a lot of power to change our narrative. Our brain is not in control of us. We are in control of it, right? And so you start changing. We have a lot. So addiction we have a lot of power over our mind and over our addiction, because when we're in active addiction, it doesn't feel that way.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel that way. It feels scary, and it feels, well, and sometimes we flip the narrative, and we're like, I'm totally in control of this. I will show you. I'm going to go do it for a minute, and I'm going to feel better. We get into that whole thing. But I think those of us, and really, those of us who are in active addiction, no matter what it is, letting go of the shame story and reaching out to one another and being like, man, I'm in my shit. I'm in my shit. And what is my shit? My shit is that I'm sneaky. My shit is that I'm lying. My shit is that, I'm afraid of all these things. But really, when it comes down to, at the end of the day, what matters is me being honest and true to me. And once I got to that place, whatever it was, then everything felt better from there. And it just took me getting there, but it took 46 years to get there, right?
Right.
And that's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
I'm so
Absolutely.
grateful.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful. And I can see things as like a gift. Things I didn't get here. It's my struggles that are my strength. It's the hard times that got me strong. It is not the days with bubbles and sugarcane that got me strong. Nothing about those times. I love those memories, but they didn't make me resilient.
Yeah. No, it's the bad times. I like to say sometimes when I do my public speaking, my greatest moments didn't come from my greatest moments. They came from my failures, bad choices, right? That's what created my greatest moments. And you hear it constantly. You don't see it at the beginning, because again, that voice in our head that we're listening to is telling us something different until you can learn how to shift it. Again, guys, read the book Conscious Creator. It talks about that, right? Paying attention to your consciousness. It's that voice that Sunshine's talking about.
Yeah, that voice in my head.
And we listen to it. Unfortunately,
we listen to it.
Yeah.
And for me, there's a big piece for me of I am nothing without my God, and I'm everything I need to be with him. And for me, that's a key part, because my hell, I can get cocky. I can get super cocky. I am like, I just think I can just do it all. And that is part for me. That is a key component of addiction for me, because I start getting into this place where I just think I'm, it's like, I just think I can do everything. And that, there are signs that are leading me into that addiction place. So, I need all of the things together are what help me stay in a place of vulnerability, and it can seem overwhelming. And I'm great. I guess, just to sum it up, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for my addiction. All of them. Just addiction underlined, because it has helped me love more, love deeper, like understand people, connect with people. It helps me live deeper, and I'm grateful. I'm honestly grateful.
Yeah.
It makes me. I wouldn't change it for anything.
I'm right in the same position that you're at, Sunshine. I mean, seriously, right? I had the privilege to speak with some people at Turning Point Recovery. Well, it was yesterday. And of course, people on the show won't know it was yesterday, but it was yesterday. And I got tears in my eyes when I let them know I'm so grateful that I lost my job of 24 years in 2009 because of a dirty UA. Now, I lost my home. I lost all my retirement. I've had to work my ass off to keep my head above water. but I found me in the process. And I am now basically out there in the recovery community, and I get inspired every single freaking day from these individuals. It's because they've dug themselves out of the deepest, darkest freaking pits of hell. They get life, they understand life. And I will say continuously on this show, you want to hang with some amazing people, hang with people in long-term recovery, because they will definitely teach you how to enjoy life. And I am so grateful where I am at right now. Definitely. And life has gotten better and better. Am I where I want to be right now? No. However, I see it, I smell it, I taste it. It's coming.
Yeah, it's just part. All of it is just part of. It's just part of the process.
Yeah.
It's all part of the process, and we love each other, and we help one another, and then we talk about it, and we go on this roller coaster of life, and that's the beautiful part of it. Some people, relapse is part of the recovery. I'll say that's part of the recovery. Relapse is part of the recovery. And other people will say, no, I never relapsed. And I'm like, that is awesome.
Yeah, right.
That's awesome. Right. And then it's awesome to hear everybody's story is different. And that's what makes it this rainbow of awesome. Like, if, who would want it to all be the same?
Yeah. And I'm gonna switch it around just a little bit on you, Sunshine. Okay. When I first started doing this show, about 3 or 4 months into the show, I had a studio at the time, and I was looking at my producer, and I'm like, I don't know how long this show will go. And he's like, why? It's like the shows we've had have been awesome, and I'm still learning, right? I'm still learning how to host, and I says, and this is how I saw it. Okay. I said, to me, it seems like everybody's story's the same, right?
Oh.
Got into drugs and alcohol at an early age. This is what happened. This is the trauma that happened. This is what changed their life. I was missing something there for a while. About 2 or 3 more months ahead of time, my light bulb finally went off. And I went, son of a bitch. Their journeys. It's their freaking journeys. That's what's making it so cool, right? Because everyone's journey, everyone's aha moment, they're different. And it doesn't matter whether it was the 12 steps, doesn't matter if it was the 12 journeys, doesn't matter if one day they woke up and looked in the mirror and put their crown on. Doesn't matter if they just woke up one day and dropped the freaking shovel and says, I'm done digging. That's what makes it so flippin' amazing. That's why I love doing this, because I get to hear everyone's journey, because now they're all a part of my journey. It's amazing.
It is. It's beautiful. It's and sometimes I'll think, my heck, why is it's these same lessons that I'll learn, and then I'll find it's interesting how it's the same lesson and it just takes a little tweak, and I'll get stuck in the same, and I'll be like, that's the same thing I just learned, but I've got to learn it again and again. And I give myself a lot of grace. That's something I'm learning, just how to give myself grace. And how I always thought about, I love to give. I love to give. I love it. I love how it feels. But right now, my journey is more about receiving and giving the other person the gift of giving, because I can't give them that gift that I love so much until I receive.
Yeah.
So there's this interesting dichotomy in all things, right? In light, in accepting my dark, so that I can love my light more, and learning to receive so that someone else can love the gift of giving.
You're keeping the cycle, right? Somebody taught me this once. They said when somebody offers you help or someone offers you a gift, whether it's money or a new coat or a pair of socks, or whatever it may be, right? If you refuse, you're breaking the cycle,
Mhm.
because what's happening is the universe has now sent you someone to offer you help because of the help you have offered to someone. And when we refuse, we are breaking that freaking cycle, and it takes time for that cycle to come back around. And I was so grateful, so grateful for that lesson. And I had the opportunity to teach my oldest granddaughter that last year. So when our grandkids have a birthday, I take them out. They get to choose where they want to go shopping, and they get to choose where they want to go to lunch or dinner.
Oh, fun.
Our oldest granddaughter, who, gosh, she just turned 12th on the 4th, but last year she decided she wanted to go shopping at Target. And we go to Target, and she finds this, with the help of my ex-wife, she finds this beautiful dress. And she loves this dress, and she just falls in love with it. And she's like, "This is what I want, Papa." I'm like, "Okay, well, what else?" She goes, "Nope, this is it. That's all I want." I'm like, "All right." And we had already gone out to dinner. She still had money left. So on the way back out, she goes, "Yeah, okay, so I'm done, Papa." I'm like, "All right." I says, "Well, you still have some money left." She goes, "That's okay, keep it." I said, "No, sweetie, this is your birthday money. This is not Papa's. This is your birthday money." She goes, "No, Papa, you could probably use it." She's opening up her heart.
Mhm.
And so the lesson that was taught to me, I taught her. I said, "Sweetie, can Papa can Papa say something to you? And I really want you to listen." And she goes, "Yeah." And I told her the story of what someone told me. After I was done, I said, "Do you understand what I mean?" And she goes, "I do." I said, "Here's the rest of your birthday money. Give it away, keep it, spend it. This is your money. Do not break the cycle." And she
Mhm.
got this big grin on her face and took the money and put it in her little. So I'm
That's
hoping
awesome.
that stays with her. She's an intelligent girl, and I'm pretty sure, because she's got a heart the size of the universe, that little girl. And so I hope it sticks with her.
Yeah. That's it. That's yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, learning that, yeah, that all things have their opposite. And within me, right? And that I think that too, that's that a little bit of that thing with the recovery and then the relapse with that forgiveness, that, learning that both sides have to be part of me and that's okay. And I think that for me, that also bled into my addiction because I wanted to feel that was my sneaky. That's why I was sneaky, because
Yeah.
I wanted to beat the cycle. I don't want to beat the cycle. I don't want to feel the pain, but I want to feel the pleasure. Well, that's what addiction is about, right? We
Yeah.
want to stay in the. If I were to stay in the pleasure all the time, I there's no growth. There's no way for me to grow. Growth happens in the cycle. If the cycle doesn't happen, we stay stagnant.
Yes.
And so I that's really important for people. We for me, especially, like, if I don't do the cycle, I'm stuck. And so I have to be willing to go through the pain, and then the pleasure will come. I have to be willing, and so when I think about it that way, I'm like, okay, it's okay, because it's willing to go into the dark, to because the light's worth it. The pain is okay because the pleasure's worth it. And that cycle is important. In friendship and forgiveness, it's always worth it to go through the conflict. I call it proflict. I want to write a book called Proflict, because
I
it's not a
love
con, right?
it.
It's a pro, because once we get through we always feel better.
Yeah.
But you got to go toward it. The more you run from it, the bigger it gets. And that's one of the things in conflict that I always teach. The peace is on the other side of the conflict. You have to go. Now, how you decide to go through it, that's a whole nother thing. Whether you go through it kicking, we can learn skills that make it better, but you have to go through it. And that's another thing with addiction. Some people, Mine was not being, some people, they stay in addiction because they don't like chaos. So they're trying to avoid, they stay out of their mind to avoid all chaos or conflict. Everybody, but again, that goes back to where once I learned what my core, and some people have a couple of them, it's not just one. But yeah, in coaching, I think you can really, as you talk and you feel a place of safety, which is a lot, finding a place of safety. There's just a lot in life in your journey. And I think that's what I love what you're doing here, is helping people talk out or listen to other people about, oh, yeah, what is it that I'm doing? And some people in addiction, sometimes, I mean, you could have just, you just get sideswiped and you're like, they're born in addiction, literally.
Yeah.
Literally. But
Yes.
they don't know another way. They were born in this addiction of, from who, that's all they know, which is another thing that, people can talk about. So I love what you do. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. And
Yeah.
thank you.
It's beautiful.
And thank you for what you do, right, Sunshine? Because you're helping individuals see themselves for who they really are.
Mm,
And we all need that, right? We cannot do it alone.
mm-mm.
We definitely cannot. And I thank my higher power, who I call God as well, every single day. Because when I used to look in the mirror on a Friday or Saturday night, because I was so freaking wasted, and go, God, please help me, because I know
Mhm.
I'm going down the wrong road. Well, he has a sense of humor. He had me lose my job of 24 years,
Yeah.
you know. However,
Yeah.
it put me on this path that I'm on right now, not even seeing it, not even seeing it. And what you do to bring people in and sit down and work with them, and it sounds like the way that you do it, you almost let them figure it out themselves. You just use certain
Yeah.
tools. You're just kind of like putting a little stone here and a little stone there, and you're allowing them to connect those dots, because I think we get it a lot more if we're not hearing it from somebody. However, being, I don't know, I don't know which way to explain it. However, I think we feel better about ourselves when all of a sudden we have that aha moment. It's like,
Well, and I don't
oh
have
my,
it.
oh,
Yeah. Like I really don't have it. I don't freaking know. Like
right,
for me, I would
right.
not know. I don't, sometimes people will get frustrated. They'll be like, well, what do I do? And I'm like, well, I don't know. Like, I honestly don't have the answer. I can ask you the questions, but you only I know, only you know. It's kind of tricky because if I use the same logic that got me where I am, I can't get out of the maze, right? Because I'm going to get stuck. But if I can talk it out loud and somebody can kind of regurgitate what I'm saying, and it can get different options, I can get out. But only I have the way out. I got the way in, but I only, but our compasses get all messed up. So we need, it's like, but I really believe that in coaching. Only, well, and I'll say God, because he has this view, right, of what, so I need, I need that view, and I need that higher power, but it's about me. Because even God, I have to make it's my body. I
Yeah.
have to make the decisions. I got to do the work no
Well, God
matter what.
wants you to.
Yeah, I got to do the work. So, and we know as addicts, man, there's a lot of times I want to manipulate you into giving me my direction so I can flip back around and smack your ass when you gave me the wrong thing. You bastard.
Yeah,
You
right.
told me to do this and I did it, and now look. So I'm
Yep.
going to go drink about it because now I'm a mess. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying? Like, we will just absolutely find every excuse to blame and shame. So that's just the perfect scenario right there. That's just the perfect storm. Thank you. Right? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not telling anybody what to do because it's going to come around and bitch slap me in like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So, coaching, it really is about inspiring that person to see that they have the tools, right? They have they have the guy, and a lot of people, they've just been manipulated to have that compass within them to just be all jacked up. It's all jacked up. They don't even know they have a compass. It's all, and so yeah, find slowing down enough to believe in yourself and be like, oh, I can hear it. I'm fine. I am fine. I can do this. I can do it. And I may make mistakes. No kidding. I'm supposed to.
Yeah, right. Because that's what's going to help us learn,
Mhm.
right? I mean, I don't know. When I was at Turning Point yesterday and talking to people that are in recovery, I'm like, why is it that when we become adults we give up so freaking easy?
Mhm.
I says, why do we beat ourselves up, right? Because when we're babies, we finally get to where we can roll over, and we'll keep trying until we finally
Yeah, we
roll
just
over,
keep doing
right?
it.
Then we get up on all fours, and sometimes we rock back and forth, and sometimes we try to move and we'll fall, and however we continue to try. Before we know it,
Mhm.
we're crawling. Now we want to walk, so we stand up. We dare to stand up. A lot of times we bounce our chins or lips or face off the coffee tables, or we land on a chair or whatever, and we cry about it. Now, if that was an adult, they would say, I'm done.
I'm done.
I'm
That hurt.
sick of it. It hurt. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm like, everybody in this room, if we did that, we'd all be freaking crawling in here, right? Instead of walking in here. So think about it. Just keep going,
You just
deal
got to
with
keep
it,
doing it.
and keep doing it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Because we have the capability to. Humans are, I mean, kids are resilient, right?
We're
Kids are so
resilient. Kids are
resilient.
more, yeah. But we become, for whatever reason, we just become like kids are rubber, and then we just
Yeah.
become made out of glass. It's
Yep.
it's like stop the glass, like it, yeah. Um, yeah, that's, I mean, that's, I don't want to be like a glass house. I'm not glass. I tell myself I'm glass. I'm not, I'm not. And then we tell each other we're glass, which is
Yeah.
harmful. Oh yeah, you're so precious. You're just made of this fine glass. That's so hurtful. That's it. But first of all, it's bullshit. Second of all, it's hurtful. We're not doing, and then we tell people the more, you know, we have all these little levels. Like the more educated you are, you're more glass. Like you're more, and it's just asinine. It's all a lie, and it's actually it's actually disgusting, right? It's, I mean, I tell myself that, like the more I have, the nicer the things I have, then the more glass like these things, these lies that I tell myself, that is ridiculous. I You have to get it, and finding out what your personal values are, because you and I aren't going to value the same things. Like I value curiosity. It's one of my top values. So if you and I don't value the same things, that's okay. I need to respect that. What you value, you may value loyalty. Well, if you value loyalty and I value curiosity, we can butt heads sometimes.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
because I'm always over here asking a bunch of questions that may not be very loyal questions. I may be asking questions that seem like, my hell, she's not very loyal to her spouse or anybody. She's asking questions that are just downright rude. But I value curiosity over everything, right? So, but you may value loyalty over everything. So, looking at the person, especially those people that you're talking with, you can pretty much tell what they value most right off. I valued, so my husband, he valued justice. It was very obvious. And I valued mercy. And wow, we got into some fights, especially when we were both addicts, because we're strong-willed, right?
Yeah.
So,
Right.
I think it's one of the very first things I do in my coaching. Finding out what people, and the values change over time in your life. They're not always the same. But I think that that's really important. Figuring out yourself what you value. And it may not be what your church or your religion or your parents say to value. It's about I believe we're kind of born with these set values. Sometimes they change a little bit. But what do you value? Really? Because you'll fight to the death for it.
Right. I love that you use that word value, Sunshine. I mean, seriously, instead of beliefs.
Yeah, no, it's yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love that word a lot more. What is it that
Mhm.
you value? Because instead of what you believe, because I like to say sometimes, if you look at the word belief, the word lies in there. So
That's right.
does it make it, are you right and the other person's wrong, or is the other person right and you're wrong? Who the
You're
hell
wrong.
knows, right?
Yeah. You can't, nobody's wrong about what they value.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
sometimes people value beauty. They value things that and that is awesome. It's awesome. Sometimes people they value money. They value, that's okay. That's awesome. I freaking love that. We need people that value that. Some people value hard work. Some people value rest. Some
Yeah.
people freaking value flat out laziness. Awesome. Like when you value people for valuing, because we need people that value things. So I love it. And I love discovering what they value, because there doesn't need to be a reason. It's like part of who they are. And
Their
it's
DNA.
awesome. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's it's a beautiful thing to learn about. And I love people just because I love them and what they value. I'm like, I love that you value that. I think it's awesome. I love that you value art, like creativity, and that you help people, because when you value it, you work to help other people learn about it. And you want and it for no reason. Like, you don't care if you get money for it, nothing. You love it.
You're not
Yeah,
trying to
I
change
don't know.
their mind, right? That's
Mhm.
what I love about that word value. You're not trying to
Mm-mm.
change their mind to get them to believe what you believe. You're
Yeah,
just saying, this is what I value, and
yeah.
here's why, right? Because that could
Mhm.
get them, I think, by saying it and by using that word, it stops people from putting their wall up, getting
Right. They're
defensive.
not offended and stuff.
They're not offended. Yeah. So I wrote it down and I circled it. I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna start working on changing that in my vocabulary. Because even in some of the shows, I would say my belief is, now I want to say
I
this is
value.
how I value it. Right.
Hmm. And it won't work if you say, because there's certain, like if I said I value a belief,
Okay.
that then
You're
that's
counter-reacting.
awesome. But you'll learn what your values are,
Okay.
because
Yeah.
it's a value is a value. It'll be like, what do you mean a value? You'll know, because you'll start saying things and you're like, ooh, that hit me in my gut. Like that's in my gut. I feel like that. Like if truth is a value, you'll be like, woo, truth is a value for me. Honesty, you'll know. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's fun to start finding them. So I would just challenge people, oh, what are your values? And then when you start looking at your partner, sometimes you'll figure out exactly why you're arguing, because your values they contradict, and you are not respecting their value. I mean, sometimes your value may be respect. It's respect. And their value, and you're just like, why can't you just respect me? Uh, and it's really important to you because you value respect.
Yeah.
My dad, yeah. Anyway, I look back at my parents and why I argued with my parents. Well, curiosity is a big one, because I would question their values because I was curious. And so my dad's was like, don't disrespect me. Just
Just listen to what I'm telling you.
so now I understand, because I just was like, I don't understand why they're always mad at me. But it was disrespectful. But I didn't understand that as a kid.
Yeah.
So anyway, so yeah, you start to see like what these are all about. Some people, just spirituality is something that they value. That's so anyway, I could go on and on about it. It's super interesting. But you'll start to see in your people that you interview what they value, and then you can kind of ask little questions around that.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you for
So
sharing that, Sunshine. Yeah,
yeah,
that is really, really good.
yeah.
We've been into this an hour already.
I know it goes
It's so
fast.
shocking on how quick this thing goes, and I do my best to respect people's time, because I mean, we have had shows like an hour and a half, 2 hours
They
long,
go
and it's
forever.
because we just get into this conversation and
Well,
we.
you're just easy to talk to.
Oh well, thank
That's
you,
awesome. I
thank you,
love
thank
that.
you.
Yeah. Because I was nervous about it. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to go off on tangents and blah, blah, blah. But That's okay,
Yes.
right? It's
Yes.
okay to do that.
Yeah. Well, and before we actually started recording, you seemed pretty comfortable. It didn't take long for you to get comfortable.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, you're good at it. You're good at it. You're a professional calmer downer.
Oh, well, thank you. Huh, I'll have to put that on a t-shirt.
What do you do for a living? I'm a calmer downer.
I'm a
Yeah,
calmer downer. Yeah.
calmer downer. We'll
I
tell
love,
those guys to uh Andy and they have a t-shirt business. I'm going to tell them to make you one.
okay.
A calmer downer. I'll tell
Calmer
her to do it
downer.
for you.
I
Caramel
love
downer.
it.
I'm gonna tell her. Yeah.
I love it.
So
I'll
so
take it.
thank you very, very much. That was awesome.
You're welcome. Thank you for your time. And
Yeah.
couple questions I do like to ask at the end of every show.
Uh-huh.
You can answer both. You can just answer one of them, or you can combine them. Whatever resonates for you. Okay.
Mhm.
What would you like our listeners to gain from this show? And what would be your main message?
I think what I would like them to gain is just whatever they need and whatever they're looking for is within them, and that they can find it. They can find it. It's within them. It's not outside of them, but within them. Because a lot of times people are looking for outside of them, but it's inside them. And that they're that powerful. We are super powerful. You are super powerful. And what was, and the other question was,
What would be your main message? It almost
my
sounds
main,
like you almost
yeah,
had it.
that's both. Yeah, that's both. The main message would just be like that you're the power that you have within you it's immeasurable. It's you have it's immeasurable. You're like power, worlds without end you could create, and you have everything that you need to heal yourself and others, and we are super, super powerful. And that's where our love, it comes from. It has all the power that we need. It's just within us.
Yes.
So mhm.
I love it. And guys, you heard this came from her heart, right? She just wasn't spitting it out. This came from this woman's heart. And I have to agree with her 100%. Everything starts from within. Nothing can change for us in the outside 3D world. We have to begin right here. Do whatever it takes. Don't be ashamed if you have to go find a therapist or go find a coach. Hell, professional athletes have coaches, right? They've had coaches all their life, and they continue to have coaches. It helps us. We need help. We cannot do it by ourselves. God's there to help us. However, we got to help ourselves first. We got to take that first step. Sunshine, thank you so much for taking time out of your evening to be with us today on this show, man. I loved, this was such an amazing show. I mean, really, I say that a lot about
They're all
our
amazing
shows, but however, I mean, really, this one just seemed very, very special for me. So thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, well, the pleasure is mine. So I loved every minute of it. Yeah, you're just a special, you just have you're a beautiful human. So yeah, I love being able to talk to you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. If someone would like to use your services, how do they find you?
Oh, so my email is bebrightcoaching@gmail.com.
Okay.
And they can just email me there. It's just
Okay.
bebrightcoaching@gmail.com. That's how everybody gets a hold of me. And you can just email me. It's my services I make it as simple as, because my goal is that you become your own coach. So this is not like a service that we go on and on and on. The goal is that you have the tools that you are able to, right? And then just check in with me if that's what you need to do. Like, it's not one of these things where I'm going to coach you till the day you die. But I will say we'll be friends forever. That's the goal.
I love it.
Coach for a short time, but friends forever. So
perfect.
Yeah.
My type of people. I love it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's the goal.
Guys,
right.
thank you again. Sunshine, thank you again. And stay on. Don't sign off quite yet here. It's
Okay.
guys, thank you. Thank you to all our listeners, all our guests, all our sponsors. Guys, again, we could not do this without you. You guys are the ones that's making this possible. You guys are the ones that's making the show a success. Your stories, the information that you share. So thank you. And remember this, guys, addiction is giving up everything for one thing, and recovery is giving up one thing for everything. We're out.